Hello, everyone. Good day. Good evening. It is a very cold day here, and you're going to be hearing a lot of thunder and lightning. But hey, we are okay. It's a very, very cold day here. I hope you're doing well. Please, if you're around, try to indicate with a comment or something so that I can acknowledge your presence before we start. Let me just do a little stuff since there's no one here. We're going to be starting in a few seconds. I can see a like. Please, if you're around, leave a comment so I can acknowledge your presence, please, before we go on. It's a very cold day here. From time to time, you'll see lightning brighten up on my screen. Yeah. I'm sorry to have come here a little late, so we are just going to start right now. So today I tried to take some pictures. I tried to get some pictures because the last sessions I'm trying to explain things and then I need pictures and I'll not be able to get to them. I'll not be able to really show you what I'm trying to explain. But today I got pictures. So we are on a good footing and you're going to be seeing pictures about what I'm talking about. Spinal bifida is a very complicated issue. So if I don't show it with pictures, you might not really understand. So today I tried to get some pictures. So let's go right into the topic of the day. Please, I really do appreciate if you come with a little book to jot because thank you, Christy. Thank you, Christy. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much. She says you look gorgeous. Thank you. It's very advisable that you hold a little book because it's not every day that you have the time to come here and watch this. So just try to jot it somewhere or jot it in your phone. You can use keep notes. That's what I usually use. And jot some stuff because these are really things which we ought to know. So good evening, mommies. We are officially starting right now. Hope your day was okay. As I said before, it's a cold day here. Just let me know, how are you doing? How is everything going with you where you are? Okay, I'm going to get right into the topic, no time to waste. And today, from the flyer that you saw, we are talking about spina bifida. So spina bifida is, thank you, Lady Maureen Smile, welcome. Let me just try to do one or two things while I'm speaking to you ladies. Thank you so much for being here. How has your day been going? How are you all doing? Let me know so I know that you're fine before we are going into the topic so that maybe some other people can join us. Please try as much as you can to share the video so that your friends and other people can join us because we really need to know these things. They are very important for us to know. And you sharing knowledge with someone is always and always a good thing, right? I'm sure we all know that. Sharing knowledge is always a good thing. It's not good to keep knowledge to yourself. So please try to share the video before we go into what we are about to talk about today. Please share, invite your friends, your family. Everyone needs to know. Okay? So invite anyone that you can. Okay. Now, let's go on in. Thank you, Lady Vera. She's here. Lady Christy, Lady Vera, Lady Maureen Smile. Thank you all for being here. And we'll go on right now into what we are supposed to talk about today without wastage of time. Let me get my camera looking good. Okay. Now, today we're going to be talking about spina bifida. Listening to the name, it sounds really complicated, and I'm not sure it is something that you've heard before. But no, I don't like that lighting. But if you've heard about it before, then good thing. We'll be talking about something which you've heard about before, and it's all a win-win because you'll be able to maybe contribute while we're talking. So first, I will try to define spina bifida. Spina bifida is a birth defect, and spina bifida is actually from a Latin word which means split spine. So it is a birth defect which mostly occurs in babies within the first 4 weeks of pregnancy, which makes the spinal column not to form normally. And when the spinal column does not form normally, there are so many things that can go wrong. And this is the most common birth defect when it concerns the spinal cord and the brain. Spina bifida is the most common one that you mostly hear about. So um, that is spina bifida in a summary. It is a birth defect that happens mostly in babies between the first 4 to 8 weeks of pregnancy because the spinal column forms within that time. And if the spinal column is not formed properly, a child will have spina bifida. At this point, I would like to, I'm seeing Lady Anita, welcome. I'm seeing Lady Juan, welcome. Lady Giselle Itala is here as well, welcome. So at this point, I'd like to show you ladies an image of a normal baby without spina bifida so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll get onto my pictures. You'll be hearing my voice, but you won't see me for a while. So I'll show you now a picture of a baby. Oh, let me remove myself from this. So that is the case of a normal baby, right? That is a picture of a normal baby. I'm sure you saw the spinal cord. It was all formed well, and the brain is also formed well. Um, right now, I'll show you a picture of a baby with spinal bifida, and then show you an internal view of how the spine looks when it is forming. So let's just go on. I think I showed this image on the flyer. If you looked at the flyer, then you could see the image of the baby with spinal bifida. I don't have that picture here, but I'm going to show you from the image which I used on spinal bifida will look in the womb. Okay, now that is what spinal bifida looks like for a case where a baby has already formed with spinal bifida. Right now, I will show you the structure of how the spinal cord is forming so you can actually see the particular part which is not formed well, which is called spinal bifida. So I'll go on now to the next image I have for you today. I try to work with images today so that we can best see and understand So that's spina bifida explained with some diagrams. Now, there are three main types of spina bifida. With spina bifida, we have cases which are very severe and cases which are less severe. Now, for example, the first type of spina bifida is meningocele. That's the first type of spina bifida. This is when the protective membranes, like the skin behind the baby, portrays out, but the spinal cord um, is in place. So the nerves and the spinal cord does not portray out. So there is like a sac which portrays out there, like the picture that I showed you. You saw a small round thing on the baby's back. So the back portrays, but it portrays with some kind of liquid. The liquid which surrounds the brain and the spinal cord is what remains in that sac which portrays in this particular first type of spina bifida, which is meningocele. That is how it is called. That's the first type. It is less severe because the spinal cord does not portray into that sac. So there's the swelling on the baby's back because of the hole which was not formed, like the picture I showed you, but the sac contains just fluid. This is fluid which is supposed to surround the brain and the spinal column. Now, that's the first type of spinal bifida, which is less severe and can be solved quite easily because the spinal cord and the nerves are not inside. Now, the second stage of spinal bifida is called myomeningocele. So that's the second type of spinal bifida. Here, this is when the spinal cord and some of the nerves protrude into the sac. So the spinal cord goes into the sac with some of the nerves, but not all. That is what makes it different. In the first case, which is meningocele, the spinal cord is in place and the nerves are in place. Nothing enters the sac. There's just the liquid, the fluid, which is supposed to surround the brain and the spinal cord, which is called cerebrospinal fluid. Yeah, that is the fluid which remains there, but the spinal cord and the nerves stay in place. Now, the second type, which is myelomeningocele, is a case where some part of the spinal cord and some of the baby's nerves is the nerves which pass to the brain. So when you start hearing nerves getting portrayed out, it starts getting very severe, because for those nerves to be arranged and put back into place and for that baby to be normal tends to be very, very difficult. So the second type is myelomeningocele. Now, the third type, which is myeloschisis, the names are very funny and complicated to pronounce, which is the actual spinal bifida, is the most severe case. And in this case, the spinal cord portrays outside and the nerves also portray outside, and there is no seal on them. So it just portrays very largely outside. Everything portrays through that hole and goes outside, and there is nothing sealing it, which makes it so complicated. So those are the three types of spinal bifida. The first one is less severe, which is myelomeningocele. meningocele, which is the first one, is less severe. Myelomeningocele, which is the second one, is a little bit more severe because the spinal cord and some of the nerves are what goes to the brain, gets into the sac. And the third one, which is myeloschisis, is the most severe one, which is most of the times referred to as spina bifida. This is whereby the spine and most of the nerves they come out, they protrude outside, and there is no seal covering them. So now, spina bifida can also affect the brain of the child. So apart from the fact that that particular part of the spinal cord is not closed, it affects the brain of the child. How does it do that? Oh my, somebody says she can't hear me. Oh, this is not good. Can you hear me now, please? Please indicate if you can hear me. Please leave a comment so I know if you can hear me now. The point is, when I put an image, it shows that when I put an image, the mic automatically mutes. Please let me know if you can hear me so I can go on with this. I've been saying a lot already, so that if you can't hear me, I'll go back to the explanations, and if you can hear me, we'll just go on. Please, can you all hear me? Anyways, I'll just go on, and if you can't hear me, please indicate. When you indicate, I'm going to go over with the types because I think that is okay. You can hear me now. Thank you so much. Did you hear me when the pictures were posted? Did you stop hearing me when I started posting the pictures, or when did you stop hearing me? Because if you can hear me now, let me just try to post the next picture. Let me try to show you the next picture, and you let me know if you can you can hear me with the picture or not. So I was about showing how spina bifida affects the baby's brain. So spina bifida makes it in a way that a lot of fluid remains in the baby's brain, which usually makes the baby to have a very large head when they are born, because of all the fluid which is supposed to be around the spinal cord and the brain doesn't actually stay there. It remains in the brain and makes the brain to start swelling up. Most of the times, a little pipe called a shunt is sent into the brain and to pull the water, right, so that the baby can be normal. But it is not a cure. It is okay. She says when I started showing the picture, she couldn't hear me anymore. That is because when I show the pictures, my mic automatically mutes. So I'll just show you now without saying anything a picture of a normal brain for a normal child, and then the picture of the brain of a child with spina bifida. You would see that the brain of a child with spina bifida, a certain part of it shifts down towards the neck, blocking where the fluid is supposed to pass. So I'll just show you a picture of a normal brain, a child with a normal brain right now. I'll take myself off, please. Excuse me. Please just look at the picture of a child with a normal brain. There is some ash. There is an ash little thing down, a little like on the baby's oxyford. Look there, and you notice where it is on this picture, and then you see it. So I hope you saw that in the first image, which was not circled, which was not zoomed out, you see that the baby's brain is totally okay. Now in this second image on the place which is zoomed out, you see that the brain comes down and enters. So the brain is actually, that particular part of the brain closes the area where the fluid in the brain is supposed to move freely. So when it closes that, it makes all that fluid to remain in the baby's brain, making the baby's head to get bigger and bigger. So spina bifida causes a lot of issues in the baby. Like most babies with spina bifida who hardly have a normal life because they would, first of all, have disabilities. They might not be able to walk. They might have problems with going to the toilet. They might have problems with controlling their stool. They might have problems with their brain, like brain damage, because their heads are getting so big and their brain might be slow. So they might not learn easily. They might have breathing problems. So someone with spinal bifida, it doesn't just end as a baby. Like it is something that continues so much. Now, spinal bifida can be diagnosed most times by echography. The first thing that shows that the baby is abnormal, is an echography. And after an echography is done and it is noticed that the baby might have spinal bifida, there are a couple of tests and different types of scan that are done to confirm that the baby has spinal bifida. So what are the causes of spinal bifida? I'm sure that question is already in most of your minds. What are some of the causes? Some of the causes of spinal bifida are mostly genetic and environmental factors. So at times it is not what you do or what you don't do, but certain things like the chemicals in the environment and certain activities can make a child to have spinal bifida. Also, genetic factors like your baby's the egg not forming with the right chromosomes and all might also cause spinal bifida. And because spinal bifida occurs very early on in pregnancy, this is why I would advise every day, today, tomorrow, every day, for mothers who are trying to, who are trying to get pregnant, to take prenatal vitamins. It makes you to have all the nutrients which your baby needs, because imagine that the baby's spinal column and the head and the brain is forming during the first 4 to 8 weeks of pregnancy, which in that time most of us don't know that we are pregnant. So how does your baby get all those nutrients? How do you nourish that baby? There are so many things that we are taking these days as women which normally are dangerous for us, which might make us not to have healthy babies. Like there are so many chemicals in most of the things that we are taking. And if we are not cautious to take these vitamins, we might realize that we don't even have enough vitamins to nourish these babies, which is more reason why we have to try as much as possible to take prenatal vitamins so that our babies are born healthy. And also try as much as possible to be healthy in every way that you can. Eat healthy, exercise a little, just try to live a healthy life, because all these things contribute and can help to making you have a healthy baby. Now, I said before that spinal bifida can be diagnosed with an echography. That is the first thing that can be done to diagnose spinal bifida. And spinal bifida causes issues like paralysis in the baby. The child might end up in a wheelchair all their life. The child may have slow brain power. The child may have brain damage, spine defects. The child may have breathing problems, bowel and bladder dysfunctions. So the baby might not be able to pee well or poo well. Like there are just so many complications which come with this particular birth defect, which is why we should try our best to make it in a way that we can be healthy first, so that it can encourage us to have healthy babies. Now, someone will ask, what are the remedies for spinal bifida? When it is diagnosed that a mother has a baby with spinal bifida, there is no drug that a mother can take to repair that situation. In most cases, the doctors wait till when the woman is 26 weeks pregnant and they do a surgery. Like this surgery is usually done with general anesthesia. Like just thinking about it gives me goosebumps. Just thinking about it and talking about it right now, I feel a kind of cold in my body, because when you imagine that a pregnant woman will have to go through will have to go through. You're welcome, Lady Fidel. Will have to go through a surgery. Like there's usually an operation which is done that the woman's tummy is cut, and then they go through the sac where the baby is, through the uterus, and then they get to the back of the baby and they repair that particular situation. They repair the spinal bifida, try to get the spine and the nerves that are inside back in place, and then they close it up and then close the mother up, and she can give birth to a baby who is close to normal. But most times the baby is monitored very, very much so that they can check if the baby is normal at birth. But most times, with the way the spinal bifida operation is done, there is guarantee that the baby can be healthy, and the mother can have a normal vaginal birth. So it's usually done like a CS. So the mother is cut down there, and then the uterus is cut, and they get to the baby and fix the issue. Now, that's the case where the operation is done before birth. And it would depend on a lot of things. It would depend on how healthy the baby is. It would depend on a lot of things. When doctors find out that your child has spinal bifida, it is just after the numerous checks. There are like 4 different checkups that need to be done before they will conclude if you can be operated upon, which the mother will have to be given anesthesia, like a general anesthesia, so that the baby as well is under anesthesia before this procedure can be done. But spinal bifida operation can be done while the mother is pregnant or after birth, 1 to 2 days after the baby is born. So immediately the baby is born, the baby is usually checked by specialists, and they get into the operation room, start working on the baby 1 to 2 days after birth. Because spinal bifida is an emergency. It is not something that you leave for the baby to maybe go on and live for maybe days, weeks before the problem is corrected. No, it's an issue which once it is discovered, they start preparing for the operation immediately. It can only be remedied through a surgery. So in a case where the baby is born with it, yeah, they can try to fix it. It will be in a way that the baby will have to, they'll have to send a certain tube into the baby's brain. My God, like thinking of it, I pray that no mother sees that kind of issue. They'll have to send a tube through the baby's brain to pull out that water, that fluid which has formed there. Because with the fluid there are just 2 things that can happen. The baby will die, or the baby will stay and the fluid keeps getting more and more, and the head keeps swelling up, and the head is getting bigger and bigger, and the baby will finally die. So they'll have to put this tube to constantly pull the water out. Because spinal bifida is something which, okay, they can adjust the spine and the nerves and send them back inside. But on the brain, that part of the brain which I showed in the picture, which has gone down to the neck, blocking those fluids from passing freely, will always be there. That cannot be remedied. As of now, there is no medical facility to remedy that. So they just have to put that pipe to constantly remove the fluid. And a child who is born with that condition will most times remain with that fluid all their life, and they will just, with the tube rather, all their life, and they will just be changing it after, from time to time. The bad thing is this tube can get infected. Like the whole situation of spinal bifida, this particular birth defect, is one which you won't wish it even for your enemy, because it is a very, very severe condition, extremely severe, that there is a very rare case that the person will live life normally, because even if they go on to live life and become adults, they might be paralyzed and have to stay in the wheelchair for all their life. So that is spinal bifida for you. I hope I have covered, yes, I have covered everything about spinal bifida, everything in a summary. So if you wish to know more about spinal bifida, I really advise that you go online and you read a little more about it, so you know more about it, so that maybe you can educate some other person, so that when you see a mother who is refusing to take her prenatal vitamins, you can tell her, these are certain birth defects which can come as a result of you not taking your prenatal vitamins. And these are the things that can occur excuse me, because of the things that you're doing. These are the reasons why you need to eat healthy. These are the reasons why you need to do this and do that for the health of your baby, because there are babies who are born like this and like this because of these things. That is the main reason why we're talking about birth defects, so that mothers can be more aware. Because during the days of our mothers, they'll just get pregnant and they just give birth to us and we are fine. And there were not so much complications like in our days. Why? Because these days we use a lot of artificially made things, right? Like I think in those days our mothers will usually use, they will not use the chemically made lipstick and makeup and foundation like we have today. Maybe they will have something something from a plant that they can use and rub on their face as powder, right? So they didn't really have as much chemicals as we have. Maybe for nail polish, they had their, how do they call this thing? Hausa lily, the flower which they'll use and put on their nails and it will give some brown color. Those are the things which they used in those their days. So everything came from plants. So you see why in our days today there are so many complications, and we need to be very, very cautious. We need to be very cautious. We need to go for checkups, because there are times which the baby's spinal cord will not form completely, and apart from spina bifida being there with all its complications, you realize that the baby's brain doesn't form, certain parts of the baby's body doesn't form, and a doctor is telling you, okay, please abort this baby, because if you give birth to this baby will not even live long. And people will want to keep those kind of babies. Yes, a baby is a gift from God. Excuse me, it's pretty cold here. That's why I'm yawning so much. A baby is a gift from God, but a baby with so much defects, you can't allow that kind of baby to live, because you'll be making that baby to come to the world and suffer. Imagine a baby who is born with spina bifida, has a lot of fluid in the brain, has to be paralyzed all his or her life, and you give birth to that kind of baby. And the hospital, which from my research I got that does this procedure very well, it's actually in North America. So I'm not even sure that they can do such procedures in Africa. So if you are getting pregnant here, you have to be aware. You have to go for your checkups. You have to eat healthy. You have to do everything you can to be healthy. Because if these defects come into play, you won't have a solution around here. You won't have a solution around here. And even if there is a solution around here, it's going to be pretty, pretty expensive. So we as mothers should try to talk to other mothers, talk to pregnant mothers, make them understand these things. You who is aware today, talk to pregnant women and make them aware of these things and the dangers of you not going for your checkups. Because imagine that your child is developing with spinal bifida and you've not gone for checkups, and the baby, the situation keeps getting worse and worse, and eventually you give birth to that baby without even going for one checkup, and maybe you give birth to the baby at home and you discover that the baby has something swollen on the back. I'm sure that in some areas they'll say it's witchcraft. The baby is a wizard or a witch, and they'll start thinking all sorts of things, which is something which, at least if you found out early, you'd have prepared your mind for it, and maybe your doctors would have been following up and looking for ways which they can help you solve that, even though we might not have those services in Africa. So I would just like to give some credit to the site where I got all the photos from. I got all the photos which I showed you today from Children's Minnesota. It's a site online, childrensminnesota.org. That's where I got all the pictures, and I really want to appreciate them, because if not of them, I wouldn't have got such clear pictures to illustrate to you ladies. So please, if you have any questions at this point, I would like you to please ask, so that we can learn more. Any questions that you have, please drop your questions so we can answer. Yes, that is very true, Lady Giselle. Some women start antenatals at 7 months old pregnancy. Like, how do you do that? Most of these defects will form between the first 8 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks, or 4 to 12 weeks of pregnancy, and that is time which they can be found. Yes, we know our X-ray and our ecography in Africa is not that good, but it's better to try than that you're living in the dark. So please, mothers, if you have questions, please kindly leave so that we can answer your questions and we can move on to the winners of our mom's quiz for this week, and we can call this a shot and we can go on to do our different activities. So are there any questions on spinal bifida so that I can explain? If you came late and you have any question, please ask. Don't worry, at least you're here and you have the opportunity to ask. So please ask your question so I can give you answers. And while I'm waiting for your questions, I'm just going to announce the winners of the Inyango Moms quiz while your questions are coming up. So this week we didn't have any sponsor, we didn't have any gifts, and I was very, very curious to see the mothers who are actually here and who are willing to learn. Good thing, I'm very proud of Inyango moms, the ones on the Inyango WhatsApp group, because most of them participated this week instead when there were no gifts, or let me say no visible gifts, because our sponsor for last week had a special gift and she thought of it that the person who gets the first prize for this particular edition can have that gift. I'm so sorry the other people who participated won't be getting gifts this period, but we are trying so much so that we can get other mothers sponsoring us. It is very true that if you educate a mother, you educate the world, because it is very certain that for us who are learning this today, by the time our children are pregnant, or as we see other women around us get pregnant, we'll keep passing this information. So I really, really pray that we get more sponsors. Nothing is too small. You can say first prize 2,000 francs airtime, second prize 1,000 francs airtime, third prize 500 francs airtime, MTN or Orange, whatever network the person is using, and that will help somebody, because for everyone who comes here to watch our videos, they use internet. So nothing is too small. All we need is for mothers, for us to stand as one, as mothers, and support each other, right? So that we can actually grow. And education is something which determines so much the future of our children. I bet if our mothers, with the little education that they have, raised wonderful ladies like us right here, imagine us getting all this information. Imagine the kind of children that we'll raise. But Inyango needs support from you, from your part, so that mothers can be more motivated. Because some mothers can come here to learn, but if there is a gift or something that you can win by the time you answer a quiz, it will push them more to go and learn, which is the impression that we want to give. And mothers do a lot of things, and most times we need to try to appreciate mothers. I love giving gifts, but I love giving gifts to mothers more especially, because a happy mother will have a happy home. A mother who feels special and feels well appreciated for all she does will have a very happy home, because the things we do cannot be compared with monetary value. No, mothers usually play the role of a cook, a laundry person, a cleaner, a nanny. That's 4 roles in one. Like, think of how much you can pay one person if they're doing that job for a month, and then think of how much you can pay 4 people doing that job. And then you think of the fact that it's just one mother most times who is doing that job, or she's been assisted by a partner or being assisted by a nanny. But most times it is the responsibility of a mother to take care of her children. And that alone is a lot of weight on her. So please help us, be a sponsor the Inyango Moms Quiz, so that moms can be more motivated to learn, because when you educate a mother, you educate the world. So now on to our prize winners for our 6th edition of our quiz. Our quiz will always go on, whether there are sponsors or not. We'll always keep putting our quizzes out there, and motivating mothers to go on and answer the quiz, test their knowledge if they actually got the wisdom which was placed, or the knowledge which was placed in the particular videos which we make. It will also help us to put more information out there, because if every quiz has to have a video, then we have to make more videos so that the quizzes will have more things that the mothers can learn. We all pray for a day that a mother will come to Inyango and see the solution to all her motherhood issues. That is what we pray for. In a world like ours, where everybody's trying to tell you something, don't do this, don't do that, do this, don't do that. And at times, our children are like guinea pigs. So we learn this one from here and we're testing it on them. We learn this one from here and we're testing it on them. Most times, I'll recommend that if you have a question, ask me, write me to my inbox. I attend to mothers in a very special way. If I realize it's a mother writing me to ask a particular question about motherhood, I always create time to leave an answer because it is very, very important, right? I might be making a video here, but I have to make myself available in such a way that if you have a question, you can ask me personally. You can write on Ainyango inbox, or you can write me personally. I always say I am Larissa Livella on all social media platforms. So you can write me there if you have any personal question or on any topic which you want us to talk about, which you've been worried about and you've not been able to research enough about, and we'll talk about it. Welcome, Lady Janice. Thank you for being here. It's better late than never, okay? So we've been talking about spinal bifida, and if you have any questions, please drop them. Now I'm going to announce the winners of our 6th edition of the Nyango Moms Quiz. The first prize winner is Lady Jam Meekness. She has been very, very consistent, and I really, really appreciate her for all she does. She's a very busy woman, but she makes time. Like us all, mothers are extremely busy. Like you can go 24 hours without resting if you really want to do all the work which are there to be done. So, Lady Meekness, congratulations. You are the first prize winner, and you get the special prize from our sponsor of last week. And because we did not have a sponsor for this week, I'm so sorry, but the other mothers don't have any special gift. But as a mother, I wouldn't like to disappoint you ladies. So I will get to the second and third prize winner, and there is obviously something in store for them which I can't announce here because this is coming from Inyango, right? So the second prize winner is Lady Giselle Itala. This is another person who is so consistent. I don't know, I haven't written you yet for you to join us on the Inyango WhatsApp group because we are learning a lot right there, and you can contribute a lot there as well because as mothers we are givers. So on to the third prize winner. This is a new person on the list, Lady Ayompe Diore. She came in the third prize winner, and now I'll read the names of the winners once again. And for the first prize winner, we had Lady Jam Meekness. Second prize winner, we have Lady Giselle Itala. And for the third prize winner, we had Lady Ayompe Diore. Since we had no sponsor and we had a special prize from last week, Lady Meekness is going to be winning the special prize as the first prize winner. And for Lady Giselle Itala and Lady Ayompe Diore, Inyango is going to be gifting you guys data bundles for making out the time to be here to participate on the quiz. We are going to be gifting you data bundles. I won't say how much, but we are going to be gifting the second and third prize winners data bundles, which is a way of us telling you that you're special and for you to have made the step to learn something when there was no motivation. You just got into it for the learning purpose. We appreciate you so much, and we really appreciate when mothers are willing to learn because you're not just learning for yourself, you're learning for your household. Oh, thank you so much. We just got a sponsor. Lady Giselle Itala says, I would like to sponsor the quiz for the end of the month. Okay, I'll get to you and we'll discuss more about that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. As mothers, we are givers, and the only way you'll feel very happy as a mother is when you're giving something. I do this all the time because I feel like I'm giving something out to mothers, I'm giving out something to the world, and it makes me really feel good. So thank you, Lady Giselle Itala. That will be all for today. I've announced the winners of our 6th edition of the Inyango Moms Quiz, and we've talked about spinal bifida today. And I don't know, there are some people who are just coming in now. So in the last 6 minutes that we have, I want to be out of here by 50 minutes. I'll just try to go through the topic again. Spinal bifida comes from a Latin term which means split spine, and it is a birth defect that occurs when a section of a baby's spinal column does not form properly. During normal fetal development, the neural tube, the hollow structure, what I showed in the picture, it's kind of hollow like that. eventually forms the baby's brain and spinal cord. But in the case of spinal bifida, this is not formed normally. Now, there are three main types of spinal bifida, which range from less severe to the most severe, which is actually spinal bifida. The first type of spinal bifida is meningocele. That is the name of the first type of spinal bifida, which is a situation where there is that sac which protrudes out of the baby's back, but the spinal cord and the nerves are still in place. So the spinal cord and the nerves are still formed normally, but there is that fluid which forms in the back, which causes a swelling on the baby's back. This fluid is mostly the fluid which is supposed to be around the brain and the spinal cord, which is called the cerebrospinal fluid. So that fluid is what remains in that sac which protrudes outside. That is the first type of spinal bifida, and it is less severe. It is called meningocele, which is the first type of spinal bifida. The second type of spinal bifida is myelomeningocele. Myelomeningocele. Let me repeat it. In this particular case, it is also called spinal bifida cystica. That is the second type of spinal bifida. This is when some part of the spinal cord and some of the nerves goes out into that protruded part of the baby's back where the fluid is. So some of the nerves or the baby's spinal cord goes into where that fluid is. I can't show it very well here. If you did not watch that, please go. Maybe you go back when we are done so you can actually see the images of these different situations. So myelomeningocele is the second type of spinal bifida, which is also called spinal bifida cystica, where the part of the spinal cord and some of the nerves protrude into that sac which contains the cerebrospinal fluid. The third type of spinal bifida is myelocystic. That is what it is called, and this is the most severe part. This is the most severe type of spinal bifida, and it occurs when all of the spinal cord, all of that particular part of the spinal cord, and all of the nerves which are around it go into the sac, which contains the cerebrospinal fluid. So that is the most severe case of spinal bifida, and it is not even covered. The sac is not covered completely, which makes it much more severe. Now, spinal bifida also affects the brain, as it makes it in a way that a certain part of the brain blocks the space where the fluid is supposed to pass around the brain and the spinal cord, which makes it in a way that all the fluid which is supposed to go around the brain and the spinal cord remains inside the brain, making the baby's brain to have a lot of fluid, and in most cases makes the baby's brain to swell up. So the main causes of spinal bifida are genetic and environmental factors, such things as maybe the egg not having the right chromosomes, or environmental factors like the chemicals in the things we eat, and all other kinds of environmental factors are things which can cause spinal bifida. And it is also necessary for us to note that a mother who has had a baby with spinal bifida before has greater chances of having another baby with spinal bifida. So let's try as much as possible as mothers to go for our echography, our checks, eat healthy, take our prenatal vitamins, because all these things help for us not to have babies with defects. Because spinal bifida mostly occurs between the first 4 weeks of pregnancy, which is time which you might not even know you're pregnant. So it is advised that if you're TTC, if you're trying to conceive, please do take your prenatal vitamins, stay away from things which have a lot of chemicals, and just try to live healthy to better your chances of having a healthy baby. So now, how is spinal bifida diagnosed? Spinal bifida is mostly diagnosed through an echography when the mother is pregnant. And when it is suspected that the baby has spinal bifida in the womb, there are mostly 4 other tests which are done to confirm that the baby has spinal bifida. And in the case where the baby has spinal bifida, a surgery is the only remedy. A surgery which can be done at 26 weeks of pregnancy, which is done on the mother. That is, the mother is given general anesthesia, and an incision is cut into her stomach, and then her uterus is cut, and they get to the baby, and then they try to fix the baby's back where that particular defect was formed. or it can also be done at birth, after the woman gives birth, 1 to 2 days after birth. Now, spinal bifida can cause the following. It can cause disabilities such as paralysis, difficulty in walking, low brain power, breathing problems, brain damage, spine defects, bowel and bladder dysfunction, which will make the baby to most of the times be able to pee or poo just with a diaper, because it might not be able to control their organs which are inside. That is all about spinal bifida, which I brought to you today. I hope you learned something. And thank you for being here. My time is up. I really, really appreciate all that have been here. I must acknowledge you if you're here. Please, if you're here, just leave a comment. Try to share this video because it's going to help a mother somewhere. Leave a like if you liked what you heard. If you learned something, please just write one thing that you learned, so that maybe when somebody gets on the video, they can get more engaged as well. So I would like to thank Lady Ebenya Fidel for joining us. Lady Giselle Itala, thank you so much. Lady Ambe Janice, thank you so much. Lady Christine Mengoch was the first person here. Thank you so much. Lady Juan, thank you so much for joining us. Lady Anita, thank you so much for joining us. Lady Vera, Lady Maureen Smile. Yeah, those are all the people that joined us today, and I'm really grateful for you being here and creating the time to learn. There is no knowledge which is useless, especially knowledge which contributes to a child, which contributes to the next generation. Be a sponsor on the Nyango Moms quiz and help us educate more moms, or participate on the quiz to test your knowledge on how much you know about certain things which concern motherhood. And just keep being here and keep helping us share our videos so that we can get to more mothers, because the aim is to raise healthy, wealthy, and exemplary mothers, because it is only when us mothers are healthy, wealthy, and exemplary that we can have healthy, wealthy, and exemplary mothers. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to leave you now, and to have a beautiful, beautiful evening, and let's build healthy moms with healthy homes. Goodbye.